What happens when a police officer makes a life-changing mistake on a quiet morning in Bethesda? Officer Frank Anderson, a 15-year veteran, had no idea that his routine patrol would set off a chain of events that would unravel his career. It started innocently enough. He pulled over a sleek black SUV, assuming the driver was speeding. But things quickly escalated when Frank, relying on his gut instincts, grew suspicious of the driver, George, a professional chauffeur. What Frank didn't realize was that in the back seat of the SUV sat someone he could never have anticipated: former President Donald Trump. When Trump intervened, confronting Frank about his wrongful assumptions, the situation took a dramatic turn. A viral video of the encounter soon sparked national outrage, leading to an investigation that would change everything. This story is about racial profiling, power, and the unexpected consequences of one officer's snap judgment. Stay tuned to see how it all unfolds. It was a quiet Thursday morning in Bethesda, Maryland, as Officer Frank Anderson cruised down the street in his patrol car. After 15 years on the force, Frank had seen it all. His badge, once a symbol of pride, now felt more like a burden. The routine patrols had become monotonous, and his quick judgment had earned him a reputation for being overly aggressive. That morning, however, he wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary. As he passed through the calm streets, a sleek black SUV sped by, and instinctively, Frank hit the siren. Pulling the vehicle over, he approached the driver's side, assuming the man behind the wheel was speeding. The driver, George, was a professional chauffeur with over a decade of experience. He remained calm, offering a polite, "Good morning, officer," as Frank asked for his license and registration. But Frank was already on edge, scrutinizing George's every move, convinced there was more to the story. Frank's suspicion grew as he looked through the window at George, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. His tone became sharper as he demanded to know, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" George, maintaining his calm demeanor, politely explained that he didn't believe he was speeding. But Frank wasn't convinced. He leaned in closer, his voice growing more aggressive. "Are you arguing with me?" George calmly insisted he had been following the speed limit, but the more he spoke, the more Frank's aggression intensified. The situation, which could have ended in a simple warning, now felt like an interrogation. That's when the rear window of the SUV slowly rolled down, and Frank's eyes widened. It was none other than Donald Trump, sitting casually in the back seat. The moment Trump's unmistakable face came into view, Frank realized, with a sinking feeling, who he had just profiled. Trump's sharp gaze met Frank's, and he asked calmly, "Is there a problem here, officer?" The weight of the moment hit Frank hard, as Trump repeated, "I asked, is there a problem?" Frank, fumbling for words, stammered, No, sir." Trump's voice then cut through the tension. "You just harassed an innocent man who was doing his job, and you did it because you assumed things about him that weren't true. That's not how this works, officer. Not in my America." Frank stood frozen, his authority crumbling under Trump's firm yet composed response. Frank returned to the precinct, his face flushed with embarrassment. As soon as he stepped through the door, he could feel the weight of his mistake hanging over him. Whispers spread like wildfire, and the news of the incident had already gone viral. The video of the encounter, with Trump's sharp words echoing across the internet, sparked outrage nationwide. Frank's colleagues avoided eye contact, some exchanging knowing glances, while others whispered behind his back. The consequences were inevitable. Moments later, Captain Roberts called him into his office. His face was grim as he slid a tablet across the desk, showing Frank the viral video. "Do you know what you've done?" Roberts asked sternly. Frank's stomach dropped as he watched Trump's words reverberate across the screen. The captain didn't mince words. Frank was suspended pending investigation. His pride shattered. Frank felt the full weight of his mistake. But the worst was yet to come. Trump, not satisfied with the suspension, personally called the police commissioner, demanding accountability for Frank's actions. The former president's call was not just a gesture. It was the first step in legal action that would have devastating consequences for Frank. As the story continued to unfold, George's dignified response to the entire ordeal became a symbol of grace under pressure. Instead of lashing out at Frank or letting anger take over, George remained calm, even when faced with public scrutiny. In a televised interview, he expressed his disappointment, not anger. "I'm not angry," he said softly. "I'm just disappointed. People like Officer Anderson make it hard for hardworking individuals like me to do our jobs without fear." His ability to stay composed in such a tense situation resonated with millions, earning him an outpouring of support from across the country. The public admired his calm demeanor in the face of racial profiling, and many saw it as a powerful example of how to handle adversity with dignity. Trump, who had been at the center of the controversy, also recognized George's professionalism. In a personal phone call, Trump commended George for how he handled the situation, praising him for his restraint and poise. "You handled that better than most people would," Trump said, his tone sincere. It was a rare moment of mutual respect between the two men, with Trump seeing in George a calmness that was rare, even in the most trying of circumstances. As a gesture of goodwill, Trump invited George to join him for a round of golf at one of his resorts. It wasn't just a casual invitation. It was a public acknowledgement of George's dignity in the face of unwarranted harassment. Trump's support boosted George's public standing, turning him into a symbol of strength and professionalism. His reaction became a reminder that, in moments of injustice, calmness and grace could make a difference in how a story is told and how it ends. The investigation into Frank's actions was swift and thorough, and it didn't take long for the truth to emerge. Frank's profiling of George, coupled with his aggressive behavior, was deemed unacceptable. As a result, Frank was officially terminated from the police force, a decision that sent shockwaves through the precinct. The department issued a public apology, acknowledging the harm caused by Frank's actions and pledging to implement new training programs aimed at addressing racial bias within the force. It was a step, though small, toward accountability and change. Meanwhile, George's dignity throughout the ordeal did not go unnoticed. The outpouring of support he received was overwhelming, with countless people praising his composure in the face of such a public and unwarranted confrontation. His public image soared, turning him into a symbol of grace under pressure. Even Donald Trump, who had initially intervened in the incident, further solidified George's standing by inviting him to play a round of golf as a gesture of goodwill. The invitation wasn't just a friendly offer, it was an acknowledgement of George's professionalism and character. Through all the chaos, George emerged as the true winner, his reputation growing stronger and his name associated with dignity and respect. This story serves as a powerful reminder about the dangers of racial profiling and the consequences of making quick judgments. Officer Frank Anderson's snap decision, based on assumptions, not only cost him his career, but also highlighted the lasting impact of bias on individuals. In contrast, George's grace under pressure stood out as a beacon of dignity. His calm response in the face of injustice won the hearts of many, showing that when confronted with adversity, taking the high road can make a lasting difference. This story encourages us all to pause, reflect, and treat others with fairness and respect. If you found this story impactful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. Be sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Remember, this story serves as a reminder that we should never jump to conclusions and always strive for fairness and understanding,